Now, okay. Hey, everybody. You're listening to season 3, episode 1 on a new podcast. Over the last 3 to 4 months, we've been able to interview a lot of creators and content on the podcast, from Corey Haynes, Sergio Madai, Chris the Copy AI, and way more. And this is the first episode in season 3. For today's show, I'm so excited to talk to Yen. John, I'm so sorry. He built Yen.fm and Yen.io, and his idea is to build a community on every website. Do you want to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Rav. Appreciate that. Appreciate being here. Yeah, my name is John Saddington. I'm the founder and CEO of a venture funded project here in Silicon Valley. And we're actually moving into year 4 of this project. So it's been a long project and a lot of work. I'm married and we'll be celebrating 16 years married this year. And I've got 3 kids, 14, 10 and 3.5. So I've got a little bit of a squad myself. And yeah, I love what I get to do. I love being able to wake up every morning, have full agency really over my life as a creator and as a builder and as an entrepreneur. And I get to do life on my terms. So whether I fail or succeed,
It's on your
regardless
own
of
terms.
outcome, yeah,
Yeah.
it's on my own terms. So that's where I want to be. So I'm glad to. I feel really blessed.
Yeah, I really love your work on community building, community advocating, and just honestly, just creating content on your idea for Yen. I said her name wrong. I'm so sorry for that. I, though, it's
No worries.
honest. It's really interesting. What you're making, and the more I go through ideas, and more that I go through the sample that you've given on a website, it gives me an idea on building communities, because community building itself is a task that many people just can't figure out, and it's not their fault. It's just like community building isn't easy, right? And it's same as audience building, and it's about finding an area where you need to build something that people will like. So I guess that's what the topic, the idea of, sorry for that. The idea of today's meeting is that to talk about how to build communities from from starting point, and find a way
Yeah,
to advocate that community to well, it's semi popular, just somewhere there in the area. So I
yeah,
guess we can start with the questions.
yeah.
So
Well,
before I
one,
start,
can I challenge you on the your premise a little bit? I don't
go
actually
for it.
think building community is difficult. I think we've made it difficult. And so I would actually challenge the premise a little bit. I think we all know how to do it. I mean, even you, Arav, you know how to make friends, and ergo, you know how to make and build community. What I think what we've done as technologists and as internet citizens is sometimes we can overcomplicate things just because the
I,
medium has changed.
I think I can.
And
I think I. Sorry, continue. I'll say that
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. So my hope and kind of my project with Yen is to reimagine or maybe come back to the original kind of workflow of how we do relationships. And my team and I have devised a very simple tool to help facilitate community and connection very quickly on the web. Not quite ready for prime time, but a lot of the hypotheses and the thesis around the product itself is based on the idea that communities and relationships are not fundamentally difficult. The technology that we have and the tooling has not quite been equipped to do what we already naturally know how to do. So my hope is that my technology solves some of that.
So I guess if you call it in like that, I got a notification for the the invite, but I don't know why it's giving me it. Anyways, now or anyways, sorry for that. I think I got. I think if you say it that way, it makes sense in a point where community building is not difficult. I think the challenge is that, as I said, is that we think it's difficult, because it's the. I agree with the point where you said we overcomplicate, and the internet is honestly a different place to build a community. I agree what you said, and I don't agree what you said, because in one case, I think community building depends on the person. We all know how to make community, how to make friends, how to make content, how to build something, but it depends on how we build it and how we actually shape it to our vision or an idea or like a demo of that same concept. So I think in that case, I have to disagree with what you said.
Yeah, I agree. I yeah, it's very nuanced. Yes, there's something very primitive to being able to connect with someone else, just like we are right now. Rob, this is the first time that you and I have had a very serious chat, and yet I feel connected to you. I feel relaxed. I don't feel threatened by you. Like this is all awesome. Like insofar as we're connected now. Um,
I don't need to feel. I don't think I can. I don't think a 13-year-old kid can influence. I don't think a 13-year-old kid can influence someone. So that's the sad. But that's it's anyways. I can talk about that for days. Though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think
So on.
so we're connected, but at the same time, you're right. Building community with intent. That's where things get a little bit screwy. That's where things get a little bit more difficult to understand because online, oftentimes building community is also related or directly tied to making money. And
I
that's
think
where
that's
things get a little bit complex because,
weird. You
right,
could
when
say
you're
it's
trying,
confusing. Sorry, continue.
yeah,
I just want to read that
confusing.
small.
Yeah, that's right. It can create a little bit of confusion in terms of so why am I precisely connecting me with you? What is my motive? What is my intent? And that's where I think folks have gotten confused or they get conflicted. Am I building community because I really like this person, or am I like where am I headed with this community thing? And so I don't have any answers to that because I don't know what people do. What I know to be true is that people will always need tools, great communication tools for personal use, for professional use. And as long as we can enable that to happen, then I think we've got a pretty neat business on our hands. But who knows?
Yeah, I think the money part. So I actually chatted with this just with someone yesterday, or was it day before yesterday? We recorded a podcast episode for a new podcast, which launched yesterday. Uh, I'll just though we talked about when you're building on top of when you're building on a creator economy, you're building an idea. Monetization is a point where it's not just communities where making money gets confusing. It's about anything, and I think that's where community building is at a point where you don't really know what you're making. Because if I wanted to, I could build a really nice example. I could build a case for the phone, but I don't. But there could be reasons I don't want to. There could be reason because I don't have the materials, don't have the resources, I don't have the time, I don't have like the knowledge. Hypothetically speaking,
Not
I could build
yet.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Eventually. I think the
anyway,
internet
pardon?
has, yeah, eventually. Well, you might not know how to do it now,
Yeah,
but
but
you could
eventually,
learn.
I would, yeah, I could learn,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one problem people have with making anything, ideas, businesses, dreams, thoughts, is that you need to find the right resource that actually helps. And I think that's why I'm building Make Rocket. And I think that's why when I saw Fiona FM, I haven't actually listened, checked, read anything yet. Just you changed the website. Sorry, I got confused again.
That's all right. Um, well, also, Rob, like, let's just be honest. You're 13. So your view of the world is still small. Well, small compared to me, right? Which I'm literally like three times your age, which is fun. That's fun. So you're looking at it through a very different lens than I am, and I see the same challenges, but I just see them all slightly different. Right? There are just as many opportunities as that you have as I have at this point. If you want to go make rocket ships, go make rocket ships. There are plans and strategies and materials and communities that are interested in that. I could do the exact same thing. The question is that really of interest to you? Is that something that you want to spend a significant amount of your life investigating and
Making
building real
a
value? Right.
so then
And that's for every person to decide. It's you have to decide how you're going to spend the 60, 70 years of life that you have on this planet, if you're lucky, and everyone has to make that decision for themselves. And for me, I don't know entirely why, but just it's just the way it is. I have just been obsessed, Arav. Actually, starting right around the time of your age, right around 14 or 15, I started learning about online communities. I started learning about connections through BBS boards and Telnet chats. I just was fascinated that I could connect with someone else and I didn't even know their name. And yet they could teach me something about the
Something about
world.
something you
And
don't know.
I thought that fucking blew my mind. Like I thought that was the coolest. And my entire career, if you look back at the last 20 years, has been circling that question.
Same
How do
question.
we create value from nodes connected on a network? How does that work? And even now, my project with Yen is just another iteration of that question. How are people building community and value on the internet in new ways? And so I've just been obsessing about the same thing essentially for the last 20 years and have been fortunate enough to create a career that supports it enough where I can pay my bills, get married, have kids, yada, 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 get a master's degree or two. But it took me a while. It took me a while to figure it out. So I'm excited for you because you have all these tools at your disposal at a much earlier age. So when you're my age, Rob, you're going to be, I have no idea what you're going to be doing. You might have like 10,000 businesses or something. I don't know. But it'll be really neat to see what will happen in about 20, 30 years from now.
Well, 23 years from now. So let's see. 20, 30.
Yeah. And
I'm not invested in math really quickly in my head. So, that's
the one
probably
thing I will say, and I can't help it because I'm trying to teach my own kids this, and my daughter's about your age, is the power of compounding interest. So if you can learn that now, Arav, oh, you will really never, like, life is going to be difficult. Life is difficult, period. But if you can figure out a way to maximize compound interest around the things of your passions, your skills, and then finances, you'll be in a really good spot. Compounding interest is fucking amazing. That's the only reason why I can be so settled with being a full-time entrepreneur, running venture-backed companies. It's a lot of pressure,
it's
but
a
I've done
lot of
some really,
it's honestly,
yeah.
it's so it takes a whole different idea on building and your original thought into building a business online. It's way easier than it was, let's say, 20, 10, 15 years ago.
Oh yes,
So
I mean, yeah, you didn't even exist back
I didn't
then. It
exist,
took
but
thousands of dollars to stand up a server, a web server, to even
yeah,
get it to
but
connect to DNS. It's crazy. It's crazy.
that's what I meant. Even though I wasn't born then, and I still on from research and just
Yeah.
thoughts, and I can tell what it was like back then. And for example, I said this before, though we're chatting on a website right now for recording a podcast, and maybe 10, 25 years ago, you would have to buy some like a whole
Oh,
mic
what
and
we're doing right now would have been impossible even
triple.
10 years ago. It's crazy. And even the original invitation to this thing was actually a web based Skype chat, and before
Oh
we
yeah,
started using
I
Zencaster.
think I
But
think
Skype didn't have a
yeah.
web-based interface for a while, but it works, and it's
I
crazy.
think
It's
it's
crazy.
it's, it's really like inspiring about how we've improved on ideas, thoughts, and websites in the last 10, 15, 25 years. 'Cause almost now everything has web interfaces, Telegram,
Yeah,
Zencaster, Skype. All these software. And I think that's really interesting because we live in a golden age of websites and products everywhere. And it's nice to see that people are experimenting with new ideas, thoughts, creations, and there's so many indie products out there that I honestly that are so helpful that I don't think you would even imagine that they would even existed 10, 15 years ago. Because back then For example, all these Notion-based products, which are amazing, 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't think of this idea. You would think of it in a different way, but it wouldn't be the same as it would be now. So I think that's one way of saying that it's changed, and that's either changed for
Yeah.
the better or for the worse. There's still time to decide that.
Oh, it's definitely for the better. Like that, I can say that I can say unequivocally. Like science and and every corollary industry has advanced, and we are living longer, healthier lives outside of this crazy pandemic. But even then, the pandemic has forced some unbelievable technological innovations and new patents and discoveries. So, yes, I'm not jealous of you because I would never want to repeat my early teenage years. Those were I hated my teenage years, but it is cool to know that you have all of this at your disposal and you don't have to know about anything about how it works to be able to use it. And that is so cool.
Well, I mean, it depends. You have to know somewhere how to get started with things, because
No, no,
it's
no. What
that.
I'm saying is do you know how DNS routes data across cable lines under the Atlantic Ocean? No.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't need to know. Do you know how like the DOM really works? Right? No.
No,
But you don't need to know how the DOM really works.
because it doesn't really
And
make a
that's
difference.
amazing. But here's the thing, Arav. If you wanted to build websites 10, 12, 15 years ago, you had to understand what the DOM, domain object model was, how to interpret it, how to write to it, how to you had to build your own compilers to actually make machine code into readable human code. It was crazy what you needed to know before you even wrote something on the internet. Now it's like you're just like you wake up out of bed, you're like, okay, let me go to my CMS, let me type some stuff in, publish, and then go back to bed. And you're like, what the? There are 1,000 technologies, 1,000 innovations that you just used without even thinking about it. And I think that's so
Oh,
cool. I think that's so cool.
understand that way, then it makes sense, because as I said earlier, you don't need to know like a lot of technology these days to make something, because it's all about these. Like you said, for podcasting, we talked about this like a few minutes ago. Damn it, I forgot what I was about to say. Okay,
Yeah,
anyways, though, I
exactly.
I I'll agree with you for now, and if I remember, I'll let you know later. It's though, and that's what I like. That's what I like about this topic a lot. It's about the internet has changed. Back then you're right. You have to know how to compile your own ideas, how to build this, how to pay for this, how do I'll send this to someone, how do I record this. And back then it wasn't as simple to actually record something. Okay, then I record something, and I think now it's given a whole new perspective on how simple it is to make anything. So that wouldn't
Yeah,
be too much. So yeah, I had this quick advertisement. Well, not
go ahead.
advertisement to go. It's basically something that I'm making. I'm just gonna play what I
Go
recorded.
ahead. Go
Or
ahead.
before we continue, I want to let you know that this is the end. This is the finish of the podcast. That's the wrong clip. I can't. I'm so stupid. Darn it! I ordered the wrong clip. Okay. Hey, Arthur here again. Sorry for disturbing the audio. Just want to let you know, if you haven't checked themimicrocker.com or Indiecast FM podcast yet, go check it out at lu.ma/Indiecast or microcker.com. Okay, that's all we have. Thank you for watching, and let's continue. That was really weird. I'm so sorry. I recorded like 2 days ago. I had the wrong clip. I just let it play. I might just edit
Here,
that part out.
Arav, you can stop apologizing. I'm here for you, man. The fact that
No,
I'm here means that I support you, that I respect you, and that you don't have to apologize.
it's just
Part of what I want to help you do, Arav, is you're clearly very talented, you're motivated, you're driven. You're going to do some really cool fucking things with your life. I mean, it's obvious. But you will stop yourself. You will stunt your growth. You will decelerate your velocity if you keep apologizing.
it's like a what do you call this?
I know it's nice. I know it's nice, but After the first time, it's like, okay, the 20th time is unnecessary. So yeah, apologize one time, but you don't need to keep doing it every time.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I guess
I'm
that's
here.
just,
I'm here for
yeah.
you. Like, I
So I
don't
guess
care.
I guess we could move on to what I wanted to ask you
Yeah,
a
let's keep
while
going.
ago. Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. Darn it. Okay, I'm just gonna. Anyway, let's just. Okay. My question now is I want to ask you a little about community building. So we started with this idea, and we only have around a few some time left. So I guess it's best to talk about this before we finish the main recording. Um, what do you feel like is the most annoying part for you when building communities?
Oof, that's annoying is an interesting word choice. Um, the most difficult part of building anything new, but then especially a community, is there's a lot of anxiety and insecurity in the very early stages, and that anxiety insecurity could last for a while, because when you build anything new as an inventor and as a creator, you have an idea of what you think you're building, but there's a real truth that you don't actually know what you're really building. You might be 50% of the way there, 60%. If you're lucky, maybe 80, but definitely not 100. And so, just like any
Yeah.
product, a community is the same way. It's like you have an idea of who you think will show up, but it's kind of like that, middle school dance or like that middle school party. Like you're inviting
Oh,
folks, you're handing out flyers, like, come to my party on Saturday, and you're back of your mind, you're like, is anyone going to show? Guess what, Arav? That anxiety and insecurity, it never leaves you. Even as a full grown adult man
yay!
at 39,
Yay!
38, 39, I
Amazing!
still get nervous. I still get super nervous if anyone will show up. And so I think, just like anything, uh, the most important thing that you do as an entrepreneur and as a builder and as a creator is you manage your own psychology. I stole this from one of my heroes and mentors from a distance. I don't know Ben Horowitz personally, but Ben Horowitz has a really great book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And in chapter 7, the first section in chapter 7, he says the most important thing for a startup entrepreneur and CEO is to manage your psychology. And it is 1,000% true. To be able to manage your emotions well when things go bad, and even especially when things go really well, for you not to like lose your mind and do something stupid, is to manage your own psychology. Level it out, make good decisions, make sure you have the right folks in your corner. Exact same thing. So it's just managing the emotions and the challenges of building anything new.
Yeah, I think that's the main issue. I think it's more like I'm talking in a somber voice because I think this is the topic that a lot
Yeah,
of people talk
really
about.
great
So I like,
examples also is it's not just waiting for people, but then you get a few people and then you're like, why aren't there 100 people? And so there's an impatience, right? Of, wow, I built all this stuff and no one's showing, and why isn't it growing the way it should be? Well, guess what? You're still trying to figure it out. You're still trying to figure out precisely what you're
one.
inviting people to. It's like this weird, like, I'm going to come to my party on Saturday. So what are we going to do on Saturday? I'm not entirely sure yet.
You
But
didn't.
if you show up, I'm sure we'll figure it out together. Is it a pool party, or are we,
Is there like a
whatever?
eating part? I
Yeah,
think
or
you
is it a
mean.
dinner party? What do I have to wear? Just don't come naked, right? It's like that's kind of the early stage. It's a total mess, but you're still trying to figure it out at the same time. So it's just, being able to manage that.
Yeah, that makes sense in that idea because I think it's the common problem with a lot of people is that it's your ideas sound nice on paper, right? Any idea sounds nice on paper. When you actually build that idea, you're gonna find eventually that it's it's not arbitrary. It's not gonna work.
See, here's
And
what's so fun is when I was your age, I was entrepreneurship and building, doing what you're doing, Rav. I wasn't even, it's crazy that you're doing it so young, which is so exciting. I think you have a very bright future. I
yeah,
was in my early 20s, really, when I started being being more like you, where I started like building a lot of things. Like every weekend, I was building like 2 or 3 different projects and posting them on the web, and they get two people to view them, and then I turn them off the next week. And I was building. There was one season of my life in my early 20s was I probably bought 300 domains that year, like almost one a day, and it was
What?
ridiculous. I was spending so much money, and I loved it, but it taught me this very important thing that building is easy, right? But convincing someone that what you've built is worth their attention and time and money, that is really fucking hard. Building is easy. You and I could build some new stuff today. But convincing a stranger that it's actually valuable and then to convince them to give us money for it, that is magic.
That
So,
is, I mean,
yeah,
I talk about that, and it's it's part of an idea or movement that it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be. So it's not every day is going to be honestly, like perfect, and that's honestly fine, because it's and even if you buy diamond domain, which is totally normal. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm actually being like, I'm actually though, at least you're learning something. Even if you
oh, yeah,
fail, even if you fail, you're going to learn something new, and that's the best part. No
you're
matter
right.
how many businesses you build, no matter how many ideas, how many changes you make, no how many times you fail, you're going to learn something new every single time, and that is what makes entrepreneurship and anything in the world awesome and amazing. So let's give
Absolutely
ourselves
right.
a pat in the back for that. Let's give it a high five, a virtual high five.
Boom,
Yay!
boom. High five. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
totally. You have the right attitude.
and
Every attempt, regardless
every
of outcome,
will
is
give
worth it.
you a new insight. The first time you might learn how to monetize. Second time you might learn how to build a community. Third time you might learn how to talk to people. And let's say the fourth time you might actually get everything you learn, keep it in one idea, and you might not fail. And if you fail, just keep on building. 'Cause if you're not failing anyone, you're not working for someone where you have to find a deadline. Or if you fail, it's not nice for you, though. At least you're working by yourself, and you're getting a new insight to what you love, and that's what makes creating content online so amazing. And that
You're
is
right.
why I'm able to talk to you today, and you're able to talk to me. And and just two strangers on the internet just talking about what they love is, but it wouldn't be possible if I never made this podcast or this blog where I never talked to other creators. And that's what makes creating content the most. Sorry, I heard something that ruined my speech. The most special idea in the world, and that's why I
Yeah.
want to thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
And
Well, thanks for letting me be here.
we, we've reached the end of the main episode. Then I'll let you know what the other idea is after this recording. Though, thank you for joining me once again, and everyone watching. Go, you can check out his project at yen.io and yen FM. And I might record a small video on the corner in some areas about actual demo of the product. So yeah. Anyways, have a wonderful day, everybody, and have a nice day. Alrighty. You want to say anything before we leave?
Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited for your future, Rob.
Okay. And let's end the